lot of the meals that I was eating, which were healthy meals. It'd be your chicken breast, your green beans,
I
potatoes.
rememb those days.
I mean, it's
You be like, hey
facts.
man, I'm going to the store get me some
Yeah.
chicken breast.
Oh
I'm like,
yeah,
all right,
chicken
bro,
breast,
I
man.
see you.
Yeah, yeah, type. 3K. You know what I'm saying? I was at 3K calories. That's not really conducive to losing weight,
Exactly.
right? So, really having that, really like tracking those, but also finding healthier alternatives and having it fit inside your calorie deficit is going to be the key. But it's all about like figuring out that puzzle piece.
Yo, what's goody? What's goody? Latrell in a hoodie, and welcome to another episode of the Brother Next Door podcast, where we talk about finance, personal development, and skills to get you further in life, the actual steps, and my own personal experiences. In this episode, we have a special guest. Yes, this is not a single, just me talking the whole time. We actually do have a guest. We have somebody that has been putting in the work, has been getting people results,
Deep.
and is ready to share his knowledge with you guys. So without further ado, family, we have Brevin in the building. He is a personal trainer, and we're going to get y'all right.
Yeah.
We going to get y'all right when it comes to the fitness. So buckle in, get ready, and let's get right into it. What's going on, bro?
How you doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. How about yourself, bro?
I'm doing good. Appreciate the introduction. I'm feeling
Course,
at
brother.
home, man.
Of course,
Feeling at
brother.
home.
And so, how I like to start, I like to go all the way back, like four flats on the Cadillac, bro, where it all started, bro. And so, I understand me and Brev met back at UNT.
Yes.
We saw each
Go
other while
Eagles.
working out at the gym. Started talking, started working out together for what, a year or two?
It was
Something like
good,
that.
yeah.
And then, just been locked in ever since.
True.
And so, he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and we still talk, we still connect, and still do all the good stuff. But for you going to UNT, what were you going to UNT for, bro?
So I was going to UNT for a degree in BCIS. So it's like the business side of IT. So I was in a business school doing that thing. I had like 2 internships at Toyota. So I was really like locked in on that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. And then once you graduated, where did you go after that?
So when I graduated, I wound up receiving a offer for a company called Deloitte Consulting. They're one of the big 4 consulting firms, and definitely a blessing come out of there.
Yeah.
And so I went on there. I worked for them for about a couple years. It was a really great experience. I was doing a lot of Excel spreadsheet work. A lot of let me talk to the clients. Let me talk to our leads and things of that nature. A lot of project management type of work and things like that. So they kept me busy.
Yeah.
They kept me really busy.
Good. And what did you like most, and what did you like least
What I
about
like-
working for a firm?
So working for a firm, I like the stability of it all. You sort of like knew what you're getting every day. It's like, hey, bro, if we need to do this, hey, bro, do this timeline.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, PowerPoint. It's just all of those things. So definitely like that. And then the paycheck didn't help either. That definitely helped. That definitely helped too. So you knew that was coming in. So it sort of like made all the like long hours worth it. So I would say it was that. It was definitely that. And then the cons. The cons was definitely there was no like work-life balance.
Okay.
Especially when it was time to roll out a particular product, or they called it like S4 transformation. So essentially we take old data from an old system and then migrate it to a newer system.
Gotcha.
And we have a timeline for that. So when it's time to roll it out or go live, that's when all hands are on deck.
Yeah.
And we might be working from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And
Gotcha.
so it was a lot of work. There was really no work-life balance with that position.
Yeah. That's very interesting, bro, because once you graduate, especially for business majors, it's like, hey, I want to go work for the, Fortune 500 companies. I want to do this and do that. But they don't realize it takes work.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to put in some serious hours at those companies.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that you gave that insight on, like, bro, like it's cool, it's great, Big
Yeah.
Four, great,
Yeah.
but you're gonna have to put in some work.
Exactly.
You might get compensated well, but
Yeah.
you have to put in some work for it.
Exactly. Like, it's so much is given, much is required,
Exactly.
So you really have to, it really has to be your life. It really has to be your life. I know some dudes, they would come in, they would be on a different project, and they would have meetings at 9 o'clock, not 9 p.m. on a Sunday.
Oh Lord,
That's the Lord's day.
that is the Lord's day.
We don't work on the
Thou
Lord's
shalt
day.
not work. Yeah.
Come on now. That's definitely a scripture. That's definitely in the Bible. But yeah, it was a whole. So yeah, the work-life balance was definitely, that was like the biggest, I would say, like, biggest con, where it's like it really has to be your life.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to, like, grind within the corporate sphere, you really got to make it your life.
Got you. Cool. And how did you make that transition from corporate America to becoming a trainer?
Yeah, so training, in a sense, sort of found me. So during my tenure, for the firm, I was on the bench, so basically meaning that we're just, we're waiting on the projects.
Yeah.
And since I work for me, I can say, during that time, I really wanted to get into, like, fitness, right?
Yeah.
So I was always in fitness, but I really wanted to, like, lock in.
Exactly.
So I finally had the capital to invest in a trainer. Because I had been working out for like 7-8 years and things of that nature, and it was really, you saw me, I was big.
Yeah.
I wasn't cut,
Exactly.
I look good
There's
with
a
a shirt
difference.
on, but not with
Yeah.
a shirt off, It's like, oh, need to work on that.
Yes,
So I wound up being a good sort of point in my life, because I was sort of like stuck, because I was looking at the trajectory of what it would look like for me at the firm, and sort of scared me with one of the GMs. I had asked him, they had flew me out to Philly, another one of the pros.
Yeah.
They had flew me out to Philly, and he said, we have essentially work from 8 to 8.
Yeah.
And I had asked him, I was like, hey, so what is this like a typical day, in life of an employee,
Yeah.
And he was like, Brev, I don't mean to scare you, but my day starts at 6 a.m. and it typically ends around 10 p.m. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work.
Not me. And he had like a wife and kids too, right?
Exactly.
So during that time, I was sort of like in this like limbo mode of like, I was first team all, do enough.
Yeah.
Hey, I love Deloitte. I love y'all, but I will do enough to make it seem like above average student.
Exactly.
A's and B's. So above average, so to move forward to when the training came into play, I was able to like invest in a trainer because I really wanted to lock in on my training.
Okay.
And during that time, I'm starting to lose weight. I'm starting to look better. I'm starting to look leaner to the point where people at the gym, shout out FC and Denton, Fitness Connection and Denton, shout out to them. But they started to ask me, hey, how are you doing this, that, and the third? You look better. You don't look the same that you did 2 months ago. Like, what are you doing? And I found myself really giving advice to them and really loving that aspect. I'm a talker's talker.
Yeah.
I'm a yapper's yapper. So that was easy for me to sort of like have those conversations with them. And that's where the training sort of the love for the fitness world sort of like grew.
Yeah.
And turns out there's a career from that, which is trading, which is personal trading. So it sort of actually like found me. So when I had moved to Fort Worth. I wound up like separating from the firm, and I decided to really hone in on like my training, and training people, and it really started out off at like FC,
Yeah.
with training the people there, and then moving forward.
No, that's dope. That's definitely dope. And so when it came to, so let me ask you this as a trainer. Is it important for a trainer to have a trainer? Because, you know, in the Instagram streets,
Yes.
everybody's like, if you're a coach, you got to have a coach.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
I would say definitely starting out. Like everybody needs a mentor, you
Yeah.
know. And oh, he'll be mad if I don't shout him out. I'm sure he wouldn't care, but it's whatever. Aaron Alanis,
Okay.
he was my trainer, and he sort of inspired me to help me like inspire others, you know. So like as I was losing weight, as I was talking to people, I found there's an impact there. You know, there's an impact that I had on these like people's lives I didn't even know. You know, so a thing that I thought was just for me to like to look good and look cut, I was actually being that sort of, I'll say like deciding factor for people to really inspire them to really actually go forth and try to like lose the weight and try to live their best lives. So to answer your question, yes, yes, it is important. It is important to have that Mr. Miyagi, if you will.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you just touched on is, you know, Lord knows, like, you could have been the only person to get that person to actually get up and get in shape. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I always harp on people to, like, bro, just go for it. Because your story alone might motivate somebody to go and get up, and nobody else can do that for them. And so the fact that you were losing weight and other people were seeing that as well, they were like, okay, he can do it. I can probably do it too. Or he has the knowledge, so I know I can go to him for that knowledge. So that's real dope that you're able to do that for those people before you even were officially, you know, a trainer like that. And so that's dope. And so going into all the technical stuff, so are you certified as a trainer?
Yes, yeah. So I am certified, and the the thing where it comes like to the certifications and things of that nature, it's definitely an important thing, right? With some trainers, like you would see, like they don't have their certification, but they have like a great following and things of that nature, and they sort of like know what they know through trial and error. But it's definitely good to have that sort of like scientific background and sort of solidifying you as like a trainer. So think of it like a sort of like a certification that you would do for any technical expertise, right? It just certifies and validates that you know what you know.
Exactly. No, that's definitely good because I looked into it because I had a little time period where I was like, I'm gonna be a trainer.
You gonna be trained? Okay.
Like, I'm gonna
let me find out.
Then I backed out because I just realized, bro, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And just like the knowledge and just to be a good trainer, to be a great trainer. If you just want to get by, you know, give people hope, whatever, that's one thing. But if you really want to be on top of your P's and Q's, it's going to take effort. It's going to take work. And the point of me saying that is that when it comes to the certifications and stuff, does it really matter which certification you go for? Because there's a whole bunch out there.
Yeah.
When I was
yeah.
along my journey, I was like, bro, there's the NASM or
ASM,
ASM.
ASM, ASM is one of those.
Yeah.
NASM is it's a really big one. ISSA is a really big one as well.
Yep.
So yes, I'll say yes initially starting out. In my experience, I would say initially starting out, just having that certification like really gets you to the door, but it's sort of on you to have that like practical experience as well. So that's where like the true learning comes into play, you know, because I would say that I've learned more from other trainers and like other mentors than sort of like that applied knowledge, because it's good to have the knowledge, but you need to have that applied knowledge and be able to use it.
Yep.
Excuse me, however you need, you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Definitely without a doubt. And so going from, so what's the biggest difference then between going from firm to working at the gym?
Um, Other than I actually like what I'm doing now, I would say like the biggest transition is so working in like the corporate world. I feel like there's sort of this face that we put on,
Yeah.
you know. So this face of, oh, hey Jim, how's the wife and kids? We don't really care about the wife and kids, but we have to ask.
We have to
You
ask.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we have to ask because it's the polite thing to do. So I feel
Yeah.
like there's this, for lack of a better term, like two-faced mentality of like, oh, let's act like we like each other, but really don't, and using all of these very sophisticated, language and things of that nature, that comes into play. I would say at the gym, though, like working as a trainer, I get to see people like raw. You know what I'm saying? So like I get to see people that are, I get to see people who are, they're outside the element, they're uncomfortable. So that's where their true self, right, really comes out.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more of, it's more real.
Yeah.
It's more reality based. There's not this two-faced, because they can't be two-faced, because they focus on like, I'm trying to get this work. I'm trying not to die today,
Exactly.
So I would say like that's like the biggest switch, not in necessarily the people that I work with, because most of my clients are in a corporate sphere, but in the way that they act and communicate,
Yeah.
and then I'd say that's like the biggest difference between like my two careers.
Okay. And do you feel like it's more on you to get the revenue,
Yes.
to get the paycheck,
That
compared
is
to corporate?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, your check's coming in every day,
Yeah.
When it comes to personal training, yeah, you get a check, but it's not gonna look the same,
Yeah.
It might be a little slim,
Might not be a comma.
Yeah,
behind that
like,
check.
like
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
comma, maybe a decimal. Like that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it's really on you, and I like that, because it's like a constant revolving door of like, you got to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Like you have to continue to grow, because the moment like you get lazy, the moment you can get lazy at the job for a week and be all right.
Be all right.
You can get your performance back up, but you can be all right. You get lazy at doing PT, then your client don't like you no more. They don't want to show up no more. If you're not motivated, they're not motivated. So it's just the whole thing. So yeah, definitely. You definitely gotta make sure you're on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, for sure. And going off of that, so how do you keep your clients motivated? How do you keep, and more specifically, how do you keep them from wanting to quit, give up mid-workout? I'm going to forget this. I'm going home.
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance between pushing them and, getting them to where they need to be, but also like, okay, I don't want to push you too hard.
Yeah. So what I do is that I kill them every day.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like straight balls to the walls, just go crazy.
So
And,
there's an expectation. Like,
yeah.
once you come in here.
Yeah. Like if they're not like struggling, nose bleeding, headache, they ain't really working hard enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I do that.
I was about to say, hey, viewers, this is what you get yourself into.
Yeah, we serious out here, bro. That's why no one wants to train with me. Nah. What I do is, so when I work with a client, as far as like finding that balance of it all, I use like our first couple of weeks working together as sort of like a discovery period, to see, first off, like where are they at, how's their mobility, what's their movement look like, right? And my first couple, when I'm programming workouts for them, my first couple of weeks is like, okay, let me see how far I can push you. So it's really like a communication aspect of, okay, how tough was that workout? We call like RPE.
Yeah.
So rate of perceived exertion. There we go.
Yep.
I know myself. Rate of perceived exertion. And so I asked them, after each set, how's that feel? How hard is it? And they'll let me know, and then we sort of move forward from there. And then after the workout, after like a day or so, hey, how sore are you? Could you get out of bed? You know, did you have to drive with your hands? And, you know, all that whole thing, right? So there's a lot of just a lot of like communication involved, and then after I get sort of like that baseline of where they're at, then that's where like the pushing them comes into play.
Okay.
Right, but like every person's different.
Yeah.
But I would say that's sort of like the general thing of just like communicating with them, seeing where they're at, seeing how sore they get, or they don't get sore like the next day, or they feel good, they don't really feel fatigued. Okay, cool. Now we can bump this up a little bit. We can make it a little bit harder. But I'm all about making it as sustainable as possible.
Gotcha.
And also, like, do you enjoy it? You know? And it's really hard. Our job is pretty dumb. Like, we essentially try to, like, convince people that, you know, like tearing, you know, having to go to the gym to tear your muscles, to get more tired, which is beneficial for you, but you got to get there. You got to come every, you got to come every day to do this. So it's really on us to make that fun, you know, make that fun. So if we're doing any like particular workouts, I'm just having fun with them, you know, cracking jokes here and there, and just really enjoying it. Really enjoying that time. So like just keeping them motivated, and then also the tangible aspect. So that's intangible. The tangible aspect is them seeing, hey, look, you down 5 pounds. I don't know if you noticed it, because a lot of times they don't notice it.
Exactly.
I'm like, listen, you down 5 pounds, so we haven't really even locked in for real, you know. So I'll say that's sort of like the way of how I sort of balance everything out. Yeah.
That's dope. And so getting them to that point, or even backing up a bit, the initial interactions, the initial couple weeks.
Yeah.
What misconceptions do they come into it with?
Is this my camera?
That is your camera. Talk to them.
Misconceptions, right? Biggest one?
Misconceptions.
Okay. So the biggest one I've seen. I'm going to sit up a little bit. You cannot spot reduce fat.
Come on.
You cannot. I don't care. This is coming from a former big boy. We'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
Former big boy. Lost 40 pounds. We'll talk about it in a second. You cannot spot reduce fat. Meaning, it don't matter how many ab exercises you do, how many crunches you do, how many leg raises you do, how many planks you do.
Oh, come on, man.
If you're
not the planks.
Listen, if your diet is trash, you know, if your diet is trash,
Crazy,
or you do it one time a week, or there's no intensity within your training, you're not.
What about the ab roller though?
The ab roller?
I got the ab roller.
Great exercise.
It still ain't gonna do it.
No.
Okay.
It's a great exercise, but no. That's one of my favorites, but it's not. No. Like it's not gonna work unless like your nutrition is like some type of dialed in. I'm sure we get into that later, but you cannot spot reduce fat.
Gotcha.
That's been like the biggest misconception. Also toning. That's the biggest thing. Oh, I just want to tone. I just want to tone. I just want to do this and that, right? But they don't necessarily know how to like describe it. They know what they're looking for, but they don't know how to describe it, so they say toned. Yeah. Really, all toning is just like losing body fat around the muscles, so you can see the muscles more.
Is it?
So it's losing body fat, which if you go back, you can't spot reduce it. So, so it's like this whole revolving door of having them like transition to thinking in, like, same thing abs, same thing with arms. Yeah. I'm sorry, no matter how many bicep curls you do, it's still going, you're still going to have muscle underneath the layer of fat.
Exactly.
And it's coming from former big boy. You saw me back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You wasn't that bad, though.
I wasn't that bad.
I mean, it was 40 pounds, but you wasn't, it wasn't crazy. Like you said, with the shirt on, you was cool.
There was no cut.
Yeah.
Funny story about Latrell, real quick. We were working out, and he was leaner than me. No, he's not.
Facts. Big facts.
But you were leaning to me, and I remember, I'm sure you remember this. you had 'cause the veins were popping.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how do you, how you get your, And he was like, Latrell was like, you too big, man. Just scream. He screamed it. He screamed it inside the gym. You too big, man. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Who are you talking to? First, I thought we were cool. And you sitting there screaming my insecurities out inside the gym. Luckily, at this time, it was during COVID, so I didn't have to worry about too many people being in the gym. But yeah, you lucky I like you, bro.
Bro, it was tough love. That's
it could have been. It would have been on site, love. Respectfully.
Yeah.
You had to see me after that. But back to
I do remember that day.
Remember,
I literally remember that interaction,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah.
I was hurt.
My bad, man. And, it was tough love.
No,
That's all
you
it
good.
was.
Nah,
It was all love at the end of the day.
You see it work.
Yeah.
You see it work. So I just remember that vividly. I'm like, okay, yeah. Villain origin story right there.
There you go.
That's what it is.
See, I'm helping people out in the community. I'm hurting feelings, but I'm helping people out in the community. Now he's over here helping other people. So every client he has helped, I indirectly help them.
Reciprocity? Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's the definition of it.
That's it. That's all I'm doing.
We're not going to look it up.
Serving the community.
It is what it is.
Man, that's great, man. So we talked about a little bit about your history,
Yeah.
where you've come from in your own personal fitness journey.
Yeah.
How you've become a personal trainer. Now I want to help the people out, man. We got to give some people some game, man.
I don't want to help people.
We got to help some. We
wanna
got to
help.
help the people,
I don't
man.
wanna help
They lasted this long. We got to
I
help
guess.
them out.
I guess.
We
I
gotta
guess.
give
I
them a
guess
little
we can help
something.
the people. I guess.
So going into it, I'm brand new.
Yes.
Haven't touched the weight in my life.
Yeah.
I'm assuming general population just wants to lose weight.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily want to get too strong, get too big. Look, I just want to get in shape. Where do they go? Where do they start? Are they starting in the gym lifting weights? Are they starting calisthenics? Are they just running? What
Yeah.
are they doing?
So, first and foremost, I would say, depending on what stage you are at, right? So, if you're like extremely overweight, I would just start with just walking.
Okay.
Just with getting some type of activity in, because like any sort of exercise, you're gonna do it once, and then you're gonna hate to wake up in the morning and then not gonna do it. So, I would say just starting off with like a 1 mile walk, 2 mile walk, 3 mile walk, and like work your way up to that, right? And then even with you doing that like little bit of work, you're gonna lose weight.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose weight regardless. So that's where I think that's where, from a physical standpoint, that's where I'd start. From a nutrition standpoint,
That was my next question.
yeah,
You on top of it.
Yeah. So from a nutrition standpoint, track.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. Oh, I need to get my nutrition in check. Cool. Have you tracked your calories? This, that, and the third? Yeah. And they're like, nah. I was like, well, we can't really, nail that nutrition if you're not tracking. So I'll be the first thing, and then not tracking into initially bear none. Just tracking to see how many calories you're taking in a day. It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna feel like hell sometimes, but definitely doing that starting off with. Now, once we like lost a couple weight, we're a little bit more active, this, that, and the third. That's cool. I would get some type of instruction from somebody.
Okay.
When it comes down to strength training and things of that nature. A lot of people know, like, yeah, strength training, resistance training is the best way to, like, gain muscle and, like, lose fat. We'll talk about that in a second. But gain muscle, lose fat. But a lot of people, the forms are just garbage.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
You get hurt real quick.
Oh, what? So I would say definitely getting some type of instruction from like some trainer, if there's a workshop or somebody, or some buff dude at the gym that you see.
Yeah.
Gym.
Oh yeah.
Jim Swole.
Swole. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like just Joe or Daryl. You know, it's always a swole Daryl in the gym, right? So finding some like fit person. just to help you with with that form. I would say like I would say it's the biggest key starting out. Um, After you do that, what I would want you to do, I'm gonna keep it going back and forth, just progression.
Yep.
What I would want you to do is after you're done like tracking your calories for about a couple weeks, see how your weight is affected from that. So when I take in this many, let's say I take in like 2,500 calories, right? Let's say I take in that. How is my body affected? Am I gaining or losing weight? If I'm gaining weight, okay, cool. I need to cut down. If I'm losing weight, okay, cool. I'm doing good, and I need to stay in this range.
Yep.
If I don't lose any weight, congratulations, you found your maintenance.
There you go.
So that'll be like the next progression when it comes to that nutrition part.
Okay.
And then lastly, on the fitness portion of it, once you like have that form, right? Then it becomes a question of how effective are your workouts. There's a lot of times where you would come in with the dumbbells, I got proper form, or you'll do my favorite, the machine gauntlet.
Yeah.
Where you just do each individual machines and then call it a day, you know.
Yeah.
And then just call it a day. I worked out today, right?
Exactly.
And doing that, right? So I would say, really hone in on like, is this muscle, if I'm working this muscle, am I actually hitting it? Do I feel a pump? Yeah. You shouldn't be doing chest day and you feel in your back.
Exactly.
That's not how it works.
Come on now.
So I would say like just starting off with that general scheme, like and like I said, like you don't have to. A lot of people like go like crazy, like I'm going 4 times a week, 3 times a week is phenomenal.
Okay.
Even 2 times a week starting out is phenomenal. Having like an upper or lower day, or if it's 3 times a week, a push pull split. That's like a simple split. Push pull split. Push being chest and triceps, back and biceps, and legs.
Okay.
I know I just forgot legs.
Easy.
Legs. So just keeping it like that simple right there would be just a great place to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the nutrition piece,
Yes.
who needs a nutritionist?
Who needs a nutritionist?
Do people need a nutritionist? I mean, because they're out there. They're still out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you in the bougie side of town.
I am in the bougie. Yeah, Westlake is.
You got some Range Rovers over there in the
yeah,
parking lot.
Yeah.
They don't got that at FC.
A lot of facts. A lot of foreign cars.
Sure.
a lot of foreign cars over there. So I would say I would suggest, like, especially if they have like a lot of dietary restrictions and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, a nutritionist. Do you need one? No. Would it help? Yes.
Yeah.
When it comes down to nutrition, what I also like to tell like my clients too is you always want to find ways to be like sustainable.
Yeah.
When it comes down to nutrition, you don't just want to eat like, what do people eat now? Just like mac and cheese with no cheese. You know what I'm saying? Like just noodles. You know, so just what is no cheese on the mac and cheese, man?
No cheese. It's crazy.
It's insane, right? You know, or quinoa. You know, what is like quinoa, right? You don't want to have like that. You know, where you're just starving yourself and hating life, right?
Yeah.
What I would suggest people do is find those foods that you like to eat. So, and be honest with yourself. If it's Whataburger, it's Whataburger. Cool. They're gonna fall off a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
If it's Pizza Hut, you know, or Papa John's, it's cool, right? But now it's like, okay, cool. Let me find healthy alternatives off of that, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like I think it's a brand called Tony's. Not Tony's. It'll come to me. There's a pizza brand out there that's more macro friendly,
Okay.
right? But just finding those healthier alternatives on it, because a lot of people be surprised. Like they say, like, oh, you know, I had a salad, which is great. You know, salad. fine. But then like you'll have like McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, and it's just like, bro, what we doing?
Exactly.
Or it's like, oh, making healthier options, which is cool, which is a good start. But if you're not, if you're not, that's why the whole circle's about the tracking.
Yeah.
You could be eating healthy, coming from a big dude. I was eating healthy, but I was eating, for me to be in a calorie deficit, just for example, I would need to be around like 2K, 2100
Okay.
calories. I went back to look at a lot of the meals that I was eating, which were healthy meals. It'd be your chicken breasts, your green beans, potatoes.
I remember those days.
I mean, it's
You like,
facts.
hey man, I'm going to the store get me some chicken breast.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, all right,
chicken
bro.
breast,
I
man.
see you.
Yeah, type. 3K. You know what I'm saying? I was at 3K calories. That's not really conducive to my losing weight,
Exactly.
right? So, really having that, really like tracking those, but also finding healthier alternatives and having it fit inside your calorie deficit is going to be the key. But it's all about like figuring out that puzzle piece.
Got you. So shit, they even worry about going on cycles, and I'm not talking about shooting up. I ain't talking about those type of cycles. But what I'm talking about is bulking, and then what I'm saying, maintaining,
Yeah.
and then going into the deficit.
Yeah.
Should they even worry about that, or initially just starting out, bro? Just start shedding weight, and we'll
Great
go
question.
from there.
Great question. For most people in America, yeah, you're gonna need to cut that calorie deficit. Um, that'll be the biggest thing. The only time like I would say like being a bulk is when you're like actively trying to do it, right? So if you're like extremely skinny and trying to hard gain, and you're essentially like a hard gainer, that's when it's time to bulk.
Gotcha.
That's when it's time to bulk up. So yeah, those cycles are key, but I'll say for a majority of people, calorie deficit, is going to be key. And calorie deficit doesn't necessarily, let me backtrack. Calorie deficit doesn't mean like starving yourself,
Exactly.
right? It may feel like it sometimes, but that's why you don't want to cut your calories dramatically.
Yeah.
So if my maintenance is, we'll keep the same example, 2,500.
Yeah.
Especially if you're first starting to cut that you've never done before, I wouldn't take 500 calories off.
Gotcha.
No. Take at least, I'll say take like 100 to 200 calories. It's a slow progression to
Gotcha.
help you, because you're going to be on like day 3 of like your cut if you're down 500 calories acting like a kunta kinte, like I need something. I need some sustenance, please.
Give me
Something. Yeah, and then you're gonna be shoot right back up because you're gonna go above. You're gonna go above the calories that you initially had like set. So that's like, I would say like that's the biggest thing.
Okay. And so from the sounds of it, you wouldn't recommend a fast, especially just starting your journey. At least
No.
right now with what you know and your experience.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. I did do a fast during my fitness journey, but I was after I was like down 20. So like fasts are helpful, just not every week.
Exactly.
Shout out to my roommate. I don't name names, but had a whole trainer inside the apartment. Never asked me anything, but it's okay. It's neither here nor there. Until we actually had a conversation, and he had eventually asked me, hey, I'm trying to do this, that, and the third, and I was like, okay, I know you eat well. Our refrigerator is doing good. It's very healthy in that refrigerator.
Yeah,
very healthy.
Very clean,
very demure, very mindful. No, but he told me like, I fast every week, and I'm like, wow, no, So here's the thing too. I love people. Because he fasted every week, and then he wondered why on Wednesday and Thursday he was so hungry, and I was like, well, it's because very smart guy, but sometimes hindsight isn't really. But So I was like, hey, don't do that fasting every week, because what you're doing is you're putting yourself in that catabolic state,
Exactly.
meaning that your body is like, oh, I don't know when we're gonna get our next meal, even though the refrigerator is full. I don't
Yeah.
know when we're gonna get our next meal. So I'm gonna keep the fat, on the body as a source of energy that I can use. That's what your body's saying, since you're starving yourself. So I'm trying to keep as much of it as I can, because I don't know when I'm gonna get that next meal in.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's why I'm totally against the whole, I'm gonna cut 1,000 calories off of my thing, because you just you make turn your body into like keeping the fat instead of actually burning it.
Gotcha. That's good, bro. And let's go ahead and start wrapping it up, man. So, what's the best piece of advice you can give somebody? It could be fitness. It could just be general advice. What's the best you've heard, best you can give?
I would say the best piece of advice that I've gotten is everything everything happens like for a reason. Like sometimes like we don't know why this happens initially. Like, what is this? Why is this happening to me? This, that, and the third. But I would say like you use it as like a page in your story,
Yeah.
essentially, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going through this. Why am I going through this? Oh, this helped me in this situation in the future. So
Yeah.
I would say like everything happens for a reason, and then just like stay consistent and keep grinding, and you'll get there.
No, that's definitely good because I've had a plethora of situations where it's just like, bro, why did this happen? Like the easiest one I could think of is at the beginning of every school year having to pay do that initial payment for school, and it will always get delayed. And they're like, hey, if you don't pay, you gonna get your stuff dropped. So freshman year, I was flipping out. I was like, bro, what am I gonna do? And it went through. And then sophomore year, it did the same thing. But then it went through. And then by the time junior year rolled around, I was like, all right, this is normal. And so it's just like taking that little example and just applying it to different things. It's like, bro, you think you in trouble, but it's like, bro, God got you if you believe in God or whoever. But it's just like, bro, you gonna be all right.
Yeah.
It sucks, you
Yeah,
still gonna
nah,
feel how you
yeah.
feel in the moment,
Yeah.
but you gonna be all right.
Yup.
And so, I like that piece of advice. Is you know what I'm saying? Everything does happen for a reason. And are you accepting new clients right now?
Right now, I'm not accepting new clients.
Hey,
Right now, look,
ladies, I'm sorry.
look, look, hey, look. Right now, I'm not. But you can follow me at Brevin Beard Fit
There you
on
go.
IG, and then I got some stuff in the works. So yeah. But right now, we're not accepting it. We're in a growth phase right now, right? But I'll say, stay tuned. Stay tuned. I
Write
got
that
some-
up. So y'all got the Instagram. We'll leave it down in the description as well, so you guys can give him a follow and basically get on the wait list for when he does become available. Well, we definitely appreciate your time, fam. We talked about a lot in this episode. We talked about Brev's journey, his background first of all, switching from corporate America going into the fitness realm. We talked about just his experience thus far as a personal trainer. He gave us a lot of games, so definitely like, subscribe just off the game he gave, and just a plethora. He look, he gave y'all a blueprint, a free blueprint for getting started. So if you've never touched the gym, you want to lose weight, you really want to get after it, he just gave y'all the game in this episode. So definitely take those nuggets and run with them, family. And he gave y'all the Instagram to follow, ask some questions, all that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.